February the 20th, and welcome to Cecil Weekly. I'm your host, Rob Churnside. We have a special show tonight. Several guests, and our first guest is Bud Pilcher, who is going to do something incredible. Welcome, Bud.
Thank you.
Tell our viewers exactly what possessed you to do it, exactly what it is that you intend to do.
Well, I always wanted to, actually I really got into hiking about 6 years ago. I'd been kind of interested in it and done a lot of hiking when in my 20s, early 30s, not so much in my 40s, and I got kind of back into it in my 50s when I was recovering from a knee surgery, and I just kind of started doing more and more. And so in January I quit my job, and my son and I have been making plans. I got a 13-year-old son who I've been homeschooling since the end of last semester, or last school year, and he and I are going to walk the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine.
Wow.
So, yeah, that is interesting. Some people might say insane, but he's done a couple hundred miles with me. I've done over 1,000 miles of the trail, so I kind of know what I'm getting into. An awful lot of people who do it. Just, it's a lot of kids right out of college. We'll just do it on a whim, just kind of like, they'll plan for a month and do it. I have found that for me, it has been a little more of a challenge, kind of pulling myself away from all my responsibilities.
So you're hiking the entire Appalachian Trail, Bud, and you're going the right direction this time of year, from Georgia to Maine. How long will that take?
That's 6 months.
6 months.
5 to 7 months is so 6 months is about average.
So
you got to average like 12 to 15 miles a day.
I've hiked portions of the Appalachian Trail. That's 12 to 15 miles. Doesn't sound like a lot, but let me tell you, it's rugged, right? Up and down.
Yeah, there are some pretty challenging sections of it, but there's also some, fairly easy parts. I mean, there's places, the longest I've ever done in one day was like 31 miles. And that's on a really flat part of Pennsylvania that doesn't have a lot of rocks in it.
And your son, Malcolm, right?
Yeah.
Isn't getting out of school, right? It's really continuing homeschool more or less?
We actually kind of done everything we really need to do to fulfill the requirements of the homeschool. We'll continue doing some things as we're hiking, but for the most part, the writing and all that stuff is pretty much done. We started, in the summer, and we've really been working on it pretty hard, so he's ready to go. People say, well, is it just you or are you with a group? But you're always meeting people.
Right.
Even in the middle of winter, there's somebody else is out there. So we always meet a lot of people. And for this through hike, we're starting fairly early, but there's still going to be a lot of people that are going to be starting at the same time that we do. Usually about 2,000, 2,300, 2,500 people a year attempt a northbound hike, which is what we're doing, where you start in Georgia and head to Maine. Only about a quarter of the people that start it actually finish it.
I have a feeling you're both going to make it now.
Going to have some fun.
You're going to set up a YouTube so we can
We have a YouTube. If you just go to Bud Pilcher, it's not anything real original. There's a channel on there. And I also have a Facebook that's attached to my Facebook page that's attached to my Facebook account.
We look forward, Bud, to hearing more from you as you hike north. Just a couple quick questions. How many pairs of hiking boots do you think you'll go through?
I definitely have 2 already, but it's probably going to be more than that. Whether I'm going to, just because I'm a bigger guy, just my experience with hiking and helping out some other people that I've known that have done through hikes before, it's going to be at least 3, probably 4, maybe even 5 pairs of shoes. You wear them out.
And how heavy will your pack be?
Well, we're more kind of, there's a kind of a lot of schools of thought on this, and I'm definitely like an ultralight backpacker. So with like 4 days worth of food and water and everything else that we're going to carry, mine is about 35 pounds, and my son's is about 21 pounds.
That's light.
Yeah, so
sounds like to me.
We have a 3-man tent that weighs like 1.2 pounds, our backpacks are like less than a pound each. So there's some really space age material out there that's available that is extremely lightweight. So it's expensive, but before I quit my job, I made sure I bought those things.
Right.
So, when I still had some money to spend, so, we bought the latest equipment, and, all that stuff's been pretty well tested out by other people before we got it. And we've hiked with everything to kind of battle test it. So, we're going light.
Well, we look forward to checking in with you. You're a local guy. You're representing. And Cecil Weekly knows that you're going to make it. We'll have our fingers crossed. And it sounds to me, Bud, like according to Webster, you're living the dream. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for Allison Donnelly interviewing local author Sharon Brubaker.
And now, a Cecil TV community announcement. Support a worthy cause and come to the 2017 Ice Splash, sponsored by the Sons of the American Legion, to benefit the Cecil County Special Olympics on February 25th at the Wellwood Yacht Club. Registration begins at 11:30 a.m. and splash time is at 1 p.m. Come to watch or take the plunge yourself. Warm up in the tent where food and beverages will be available while listening to the sounds of the Common Man Band. For information, go to www.alcecilpost15.com. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Allison Donnelly, and I'm here tonight with local author, educator, and librarian Sharon Brubaker. Sharon is the author of the Green Man series, which happens to be set in Cecil County. Over the weekend, I read book 1 of the Green Man series. It's called The Greening. And as someone who grew up in Cecil County, I loved reading a story where the major interesting areas in Cecil County were a focal point. So can you tell us about some of the major themes throughout your books?
I guess they would be called cozy mysteries, which means they don't have a lot of sex and violence, and even though there are murders.
I wondered what that meant.
I think if you think about cozy mystery, it's more like romantic suspense from long ago, although there are some spiritual themes as well. The Green Man figure itself adds a little bent to fantasy, but he is an archetypal figure that's been throughout history as a spiritual figure. So there are some spiritualism things in the themes of the book. Mm-hmm. And Sylvia, the main character, is a young woman who is really, it's a coming of age story in many ways. I mean, her grandmother passed and she inherited her house at the tip of the Chesapeake Bay. Mm-hmm. And so she's really finding herself as she goes along throughout the books. So I don't want to give away too many spoilers since you haven't read book 2 or book 3 yet, but that's the major part.
So can you tell us how you found the Green Man? In your bio, it sounds like you have been interested in the Green Man and the symbolism for a long time.
Well, I was in a creative writing class in 9th grade, and we had to write something about a color, and for some reason I wrote about this Green Man in a prose piece, and it stuck with me. I knew he'd always be in a story or a book, but I wasn't sure what. And I just thought it was kind of a weird thing because I dream about him and I think about him. And then when I was in my 20s, I found out that there really are green men. Mm-hmm. And I started looking at the foliate-faced figures that you see a lot. In Europe, you see them a lot in churches, and they guard Christ and Mary, baby Jesus and Mary, mm-hmm. throughout many of the churches. If you think of the Da Vinci Code, and they talk about the Rose Line, and it goes up to Rosslyn Chapel, the home of the Masons, there are over 400 green men there. I think here in the United States, we see them mostly in garden art. If you go to the cities, you see wonderful green men. In Baltimore, there's one outside of the Walters Museum, about the next block up. Cool. New York City, the Greenwich Village, Barnes & Noble has one on the top of the one-door window. So they're all over the world. There's probably a green man for every culture. But once I found out he was real, I just started looking for more and more and more information about him. Way back when the internet was at its baby stage, there was a listserv, and there were people also communicating about the Green Man. We see a lot more of them in Europe. I would love to do a Green Man tour, although you can get a book on the Green Men of New York City if you want to go on a tour. And I knew he'd always be in a book. So when I was working on my master's degree, I always said I'm going to write a fiction book. I've written curriculum and I've published curriculum and stuff for education. But when I was working on my master's, I thought I'm going to write a novel. And I thought, well, no one's going to do it for me, so I need to do it. And I read somewhere if you write 1 page a day, that at the end of the year you'll have a novel. I thought, well, that makes sense. So while I was doing my papers and my master's thesis, I started working on this. And that's how it came to be. And
Yeah. That's great advice about writing 1 page a day. So in the book, it seems, the way I interpreted it anyway, that the Green Man sort of takes on the reminder about preserving the environment. And do you think that that's, is that what the Green Man symbolizes generally? Or is that how you have channeled him into your book?
I think in recent years he's been looked upon as an environmental figure. He's always represented birth, death, and rebirth, and that has come into play. William Anderson is one of the big Green Man gurus, and he has a book on the Green Man. And a large portion of his book is dedicated to the Green Man being part of the Earth. A long time ago, there was Captain Planet. Was an old cartoon. Again, he was a little blue, but he was a Green Man, and he's helping to save the Earth. And then we look throughout history. There's Gaia, who's the female counterpart to the Green Man, and she's kind of the skin of the Earth, but the Green Man is also her protector. Many cultures, I believe in Bali, he's a protector of children and the environment. So you find that in many, many cultures. The Ents in Tolkien, the people of the trees, there are all kinds of little leanings to the Green Man helping to try and save the Earth.
So your book takes place in the series takes place in Cecil County and the Chesapeake Bay area. And you have a map, which was designed to accompany your book. So why did you decide to make the stories set in Cecil County?
Well, I live in Cecil County and I love Cecil County. I work in Delaware, but I truly love Cecil County, and it would just fit. I had actually driven down to the Hanses Point area, and I decided it was the setting to my book. And I find writing very magical. It's a lot of hard work, but it's also magical, and things just kind of come about. And so it just grew from there. And they always say, write what you know. So as you travel around Cecil County, all these places just seem to be right for the story. I came about with a map because I've always enjoyed going to where books take place. Even as a child, I would get very excited about going to a favorite author where the book was set. And my marketing person, Meredith Keating of Greenwich Muffin Designs, said, oh, I can do a map for you. And that was so exciting to me because that's what I like to do. So she came up with this fabulous map. So you can take a tour through the book. You can actually go and have lunch where the characters had lunch, or you can kind of go around and find out where the murder took place in each novel. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love this map. I thought this was so cool. So where can Cecil.tv viewers go to learn more about your books?
They're available at www.amazon.com, as many books are, and barnesandnoble.com. But locally, you can go to Kathy's Corner in Northeast Maryland and the Palette and the Page in Elkton, Maryland. Both terrific places to go. So.
And you also have a website.
I do, yes. It's Sharon-Brubaker.com. Yes. And the maps are there if you want to do an interactive. So if you want to go on a tour with your phone, you can do that, which is fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And now, our musical guest, a man who needs no introduction, a Cecil County icon, but I'm going to introduce him anyway, Clark Chambers. Clark, welcome to Cecil Weekly.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
A local musician with connections nationally and internationally. The guy who put on the first Southern Rock Woodstock and all the rest of them here in Cecil County. Tell us a little bit about how that all started.
I'm the founder of Southern Rock Woodstock, and we've done shows here in Cecil County, mainly because I live here, and we had a nice venue to do it at. But we've done them all over, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia. It started when I was a teenager. My brother-in-law, Rocky Harrison, grew up right beside Alan Collins. And they were neighbors, and they used to play football and chase each other around and play tag. And he knew the whole family. And he married my sister, and he started taking me backstage to the Leonard Skinner shows. And I got to know Alan, and I got to know all the guys in the band, Artemis and everybody. And through the years, working backstage, just got to know all the guys. That's how it all started. And eventually, I worked with a lot of promoters that worked with Def Leppard and Styx. And I realized, putting on the show, he was the guy in charge of everything. So I was like, I want to be like that guy.
Right.
So he's backstage telling the bands what to do, and you girls get out of here, and you guys get over here. And I was like, wow, who's that? So through the years, eventually I got together with the guys and played with them and started doing my own concerts, Southern Rock Woodstock, and just bringing in guys from all the different bands, Blackfoot, Leonard Skinner, we had Artemis Pyle, we had Jeff Carlisi from 38 Special.
Right. Now, Artemis Pyle, as a drummer, really good drummer, and I enjoyed watching him in 1997 at Uncle Bob's Farm. That's where the first Southern Rock Woodstock was, and many of the other ones, correct, here in Cecil County.
Right.
Right.
Great drummer, really great drummer.
And he's still out there playing, right?
He's still playing.
That's an inspiration to the rest of us older drummers out there. Clark, tell me how you got started, because I know you played keyboard, and you actually played a big white grand piano with the Skinner band there at that first Woodstock in '97.
Oh yeah, white piano. Well, it's not a Leonard Skinner show without the white grand piano. So I take my white grand piano when we do the big outdoor festivals, and it's been all over. And my mom bought me that piano when I was young. And just playing. My dad got me started playing the piano, teaching me the chords and scales and things. And then when I got into high school, I played basketball and I played sports and all that. But then I'd go down into the music room during lunch and play the piano and sing. And all the girls would come down.
So you figured it out pretty quickly.
So I was like, wow, this is better than basketball. So one thing, started playing with bands around and hooked up with my brother-in-law, and he got me through the door with all the superstars. And did it for about 25 years, all over, playing shows everywhere you can imagine. All different guys. I played with the guys from Blackfoot, many shows, Molly Hatchet, and the drummer from Blackfoot, Jackson Spires. I was playing a show with Jimmy Van Zant, and I was playing the piano. Well, I didn't even know he was there, but I look over, and there's Jackson Spires, the drummer from Blackfoot, playing the drums. He's looking at me, smiling, waving. He's playing drums. That's the first time I ever met him, so I thought that was cool.
That's pretty awesome, Clark. And you brought some national caliber music to Cecil County, and I understand you're going to do it again. Is that correct? Can I show our viewers?
Sure. Yeah, we're working on a show, preliminary right now for June. It's the Leonard Skinner Tribute Festival. It's going to be an all-day show. It's going to be in Perryville. And it's all about the music of Leonard Skinner, and everybody loves the music. We played a lot of shows and played a lot of songs, but when we play the Leonard Skinner songs, that's when people get up and they dance, they come up to the stage, they go crazy, hooting and hollering, and it's just very special music.
And that's going to be June 17th, Saturday, at the new amphitheater in Perryville, right by where the old Rendezvous used to be, right?
Right down the street from it.
That's a not-to-miss show.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. And
it's a beautiful place. They just built it, and I went down and saw it, and they got the big amphitheater there. They got nice bathrooms, great parking, lights, and it's big field, plenty of room. So everyone try it out there and see how it goes.
It's a very sweet spot. And I wish you luck with that, and I know we're going to have great weather. Now, what are you going to play for us tonight? An original composition?
Yeah, original song. I've got lots of them through the years, and
Do you have any CDs or anything that are out there?
CDs I've had for years. Most of the stuff now is, it's online. We got a website. We got a lot of our stuff on the website. It's southernmules.wix is the website.
Southern Mule.
Southernmules.wix, W-I-X.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of the songs there. The one song I recorded with Artemis Powell playing the drums called Don't Say You're Sorry.
Awesome.
That's on there. That's an original I wrote. So, yeah, just play a couple original songs. And
Well, Clark, without further ado, let's get on with it. Thank you for
Okay.
coming on Cecil.tv, Cecil Weekly.
Thank you.
Mama once told you about the boys that would hold you in their loving arms. Father time had a way of changing things, like the tick of a clock. You were on the street. Daddy's little girl is grown. Yeah, she's on her own. And the question remains, yeah, where
This is a song I used to play with Robert Nix. He was the drummer for the Atlanta rhythm section. We were sitting around the studio in Memphis one night, his son's studio, where Elvis recorded. He was the engineer there. And this song came out called Love is an Ocean.